All right, hello everybody. Rocker here. Um, this is not a interview for season 4. This is a season 5 team review of the Hoenn division. I'm here with the Hoenn uh, division leader. How you doing today, Koda?
Hey, I'm really sick, but we're gonna bang this out. It's gonna be good.
All right, I'm sorry to hear that, but let's talk about some Pokemon. Keep your mind off of it.
Yeah, sounds good. You want to start with the Baltimore Blue Lightning?
Yeah, we'll just go down the list.
Okay.
All right, you want to start us
This
off?
team, yeah, this team's really interesting to me. I think it has a lot of good things going for it. Um, it has a really strong fire water grass core. I think Palafin, Victini, and Meowscarada are all fantastic. Um, Good picks there. Mega Diancie is a little weird to me, but I do like it. I think Magic Bounce and Stealth Rocks are pretty huge for this team. Um, I don't love Archteralodon outside of Rain. And then I think that like the Terra captains are a little odd to me. But the rest of it
Why
looks
do
really solid.
Okay, why do people keep tearing Zoroark Hisui? I don't understand why this is a thing people keep doing.
I don't know exactly. It already has pretty good coverage.
The typing is what makes that mon good, number one. Number two, the second you Terra it, it takes away its disguise. Like not literally,
Yeah,
but
I think that's an
not
interesting
not it
choice for
doesn't
sure.
literally take away its disguise, but it
Well, sure,
essentially
but like
takes
you
away its
know,
disguise. Yeah.
if it's a Celesteela and it Terras, then it's like, well, they either just forfeited
Right.
or it's alright.
Right, exactly. Um I think I don't know. Archaludon gives you a second actual rocker. Does White think it rocks? If it does, it doesn't count as a rocker anyway. Um, I don't think
I
Wobbuffet's
have no idea. I don't think so. I think it's just Mega Diancie and Archteralodon, and then Meowscarada gets both spikes.
well, sure. Yeah, and that's a good option to have. Meowscarada getting spikes. I was more talking about Deancey being your only rocker is a problem because no one is going to assume Deancey's running rocks every week.
Right.
Um,
I mean, I think Dancing with Rocks is fine.
it
It's just really
having
hard to get it in
it ha-
safely.
it having the option to click rocks is good. It being your only rocker is bad.
Right.
Um,
I also think Archteralodon really likes Assault Vest, so it being a rocker is like kind of hit or miss.
no, I think Archaludon has more sets than you think. I don't. I think it's
Okay.
I think it's much better on Rain, but I don't think it's unusable
Yeah.
off Rain. Maybe a little bit overpriced off Rain, but
I will say it doesn't really show with Zoroark's stats being missing for some reason and Palafin's stats being the baby form, but this team has insane BSTs.
yeah,
Palafin's a 600, Diancie's a 700, Victini's 600, Archteralodon 600, Celesteela is 570. Like, it's huge.
yeah.
So I do like that.
Multiple
I respect it
700 BST is pretty crazy.
for sure.
Um, So I mean, the Firewater Grass Core is extremely physically offensive. Victini can be special, but it wants to be physical. Um,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think outside of Diancie, the team struggles to break down bulky dragons in general.
I can see that.
Meowscarada has triple axle, but you don't want to click triple axle into, say, even a Garchomp. It'll kill the Garchomp, but you'll be at 20% after.
True. I think that's an especially tough matchup, honestly. Although, actually, I think your Garchomp you kill in 2 hits, yeah?
With triple axle?
I think so. I don't know. I'd have to calculate.
I mean, not if it's the Rocky Helmet set, which I'm assuming it would be in this
No,
matchup.
not if it's bulky. That's
I'm
very
assuming
fair.
it would be the bulky set in this matchup. But even like a Drudagon is going to live 3 triple axles and kill you.
There are a lot of rough skinned dragons. It's kind of tough. It's a tough time to be making contact.
Yeah, and all your mons. Rocky Helmet in general is not fun in this matchup. Your speed tiers look really good, which is nice compared to last season.
Features are great.
Uh,
I think the features are really good. Um, I don't necessarily believe in Wobbuffet or Turtonator at all, but they are 2 and 3 pointers, so like there's not a lot of opportunity cost there.
I don't believe in Wobbuffet. I think Turtonator's pretty good for a 2-pointer. I mean, it's got rapid spin.
Interesting.
It does what it needs to do for a 2-pointer.
Sure.
Also, it means they can't bring Turtonator to wall your Victini, because it would wall your Victini. Uh,
Surely it dies to like, I don't know, Choice Spec Psychic or something.
maybe in 3.
I don't know.
I'm assuming you're the AV Turtonator set to beat Victini, because it beats both physical and special offensive, if it's the AV
That
set.
would be pretty good there.
Yeah. That's why you. That's
But
actually
yeah,
why you drafted Turtonator, and so no one could bring Turtonator into Victini. That
to
was the
counter
reason.
pick, yeah, I like that. At one point, this is kind of a tangent, but at one point, this guy joined a draft league, um, and he thought that you were allowed to use free agents in your matches, and that the only point of like picking Pokemon was so other people couldn't use them. It was
That
crazy.
is interesting.
Showed
Um, so I think
up to his first match with like random ass mons, and we were like, "What are you doing?"
overall, I mean, offensively, you got options on both sides. I think honestly, I like Mega DNC on this team. I think this team falls apart without Mega DNC.
No, I think it's good. I would say no ground type is a little tough,
That's true.
especially when
Um,
you have the electric weaknesses of Palafin and Celesteela.
yeah. And the resistances of Meowscarada, which is not a real resist in multiple ways. Your resist is essentially
Yeah,
just a
I mean,
your resist is essentially just Arcaludon, which loses to Iron Hands. This whole team loses to Iron Hands, by the way.
I feel like that is mostly true. Yeah,
I mean, it's not gonna die to one Moonblast from Diancie because it's probably gonna run Assault
no,
Vest. Um,
right, and it is gonna heavy slam back.
and it is going to kill. Um,
Yeah, I
and
don't
I
know.
mean,
I don't think being weak to Iron Hands is
Victini
necessarily.
probably kills with a banded psychic move, but I feel like that might be the only thing that one shots it on this team.
That's very possible. I mean, Wobbuffet can trap and kill it as well.
Sure.
There are options.
I don't believe in Wobbuffet. I don't believe it would trap and
I
kill with
think
Iron
it's
Hands.
actually kind of a
I
good
believe Iron
character.
Hands could get trapped by a Wobbuffet and it would just die.
Yeah, it would counter for sure. I don't know. It's an interesting team. I like it personally. I think the core is really strong. I would like to see a few more special attackers. Um,
And the
I think
ground type.
Archeraladon is really like not that potent of a special attacker. Obviously, 125 special attack's great, but it really gets off the ground with the Electro boost thing.
Hey,
So I don't know.
there's always the meteor beam sort of set, power electric shot.
I
I'll take it.
actually think that would be a fire bring here. Maybe Elk should consider that.
Yeah. No, overall I think the team is decent. I don't draft teams without a ground type. I think that's a glaring weakness, but otherwise, I mean, I honestly don't think the special offense is that bad. I think the physical offense gets walled by the same things, which is not great. Um, I mean, Meowscarada doesn't really get walled by anything because it has so many different options to run. But you get what I mean.
Yeah,
Like they can get checked by similar things. Um, overall,
that's
I
fair.
overall I think the team is decent. I think the Terra captains are kind of awful. And I think not having a ground type makes that even worse because he doesn't have a Terra. None of his Terramons. I guess you can Terra ground Wobbuffet and probably beat some electric types, but none of his Terramons are defensive Terramons either.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know. Overall, I think the team is very solid. Scary
I
offensive
think the
core.
speed tiers are good. The hazards are good.
I think the hazards could be better.
Probably a little lacking in
They're not
hazard
horrible.
removal. Yeah. I
Hazard
don't know. I like
removal,
it.
is it just Turtonators?
I think so. I don't. Well, and magic bounce.
And Magic Bounce. Okay. Yeah, that's not great, but I think removal is kind of overrated, and like I think removal is good, like to have, but I don't think you need it on a team. It just means you might be running boots a lot.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I think you can punish teams that have lacking removal pretty easily with like toxic spikes. Um,
Does he have a grounded
but also
poison?
this team has so many steel types. Like I don't know.
He does not have a grounded poison.
No,
That's a
no
problem.
grounded poison.
No removal and no grounded poison is a problem.
Right. Granted, there are two steel types, which aren't going to be taking toxic, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I don't know.
Maybe his plan is just to always go DNC on the poison type toxic spiker. Yeah, that's not a great plan, is it?
It's not terrible. I mean, it gets earth power. If they're actually pressing spikes, then bouncing it back is pretty high value.
I'm just saying it's
It's
risky.
just risky. It is risky.
All right,
I don't know. I would say a ground type.
Rambled about elk enough, but
Fair.
say what you're gonna say.
Yeah. I just think a ground type with hazard removal would go hard.
100% agree. Ground type with hazard removal. There's a lot of those.
There are. I mean, you have Dawn Fan, you have Landorus T. Like, there are options.
Yep. Why are all the ground types with removal all like 15 points or higher? I guess
Dawn Fan's very budget friendly.
I guess Dawn Fan.
Yeah. There's also Great Tusk and Iron Treads. Iron Treads being a little more budget
Which
friendly.
are both 17 and what, 14?
Is Treads 14? That seems like a lot.
I don't know if it's 14 or 13.
It's 13. It's also taken, so I guess that's worth noting.
Yeah, I mean, pretty sure most of the things we just said are taken, but moving on.
Yeah. Beaver Creek Braviaries. I think this is probably one of my favorite teams.
Sure, you want to tell me why?
Yeah, alright. So, Fire Water Grass Core. Extremely solid. Double Water, which I think is probably the better type to stack on, just because water is so solid offensively and defensively.
I agree. I agree. I don't like these two together.
They serve very different functions. IMO.
Sort of.
I think that the utility out of like the medium pointers here is pretty high. Azov, Wizengalar, Helios, like that's great.
Even Terraglastrier, Braviary.
Yeah, I do think 3 poisons is a bit much, but I guess you never have to worry about toxic spikes.
Well, you see, you need Wizengalar to be immune to the ground type moves. You need Iron Moth to be attacking, and you need Venusaur Mega to wall everything. There you go.
They do serve very different functions. Like, I don't hate it.
Poisons are different, yeah.
Yeah. I think Garchomp is a very solid spend for those big points.
This team is weak to Psychic type.
So, yes. However, I think Terra can remedy that pretty easily.
Terra what?
I mean, you have options. You can go Steel, you can go Dark.
Well, I'm thinking
Psychic historically is just not the best type.
I was thinking a Mega Metacham or a Mega Gallade 6-0s this team.
I could see that.
I mean,
I don't think they love taking a hit from Iron Moth.
Obviously, Moth is faster, right?
Yeah.
Garchomp is faster than one of them.
Yeah. After a Scale Shot, it's much faster.
But I'm saying
Quackable also has Aqua Step.
I mean, obviously, these are two mons that famously are hard to beat. So this is not like a big critique of the team. I just think it's kind of Psychic weak. But moving on.
A little bit, yeah. But I don't know. I like this team a lot. I think a lot of the picks are solid. I think the type stacking is a little bit weird, but nothing too bad.
Yeah. Speed tiers wise, I like to have something a little bit faster than 115, but I don't think that's a glaring issue. 102, 85,
Yeah, I
that's
don't think it's
fine.
that bad when you account for all of the speed boosting tools. You have booster energy, you have aqua step, you have scale shot,
Yeah, for sure.
you have scarf. So I think it works out. Also, 3 kills with Braviary is kind of insane.
Uh, yeah, Braviary's. I'm telling you, Braviary's a low tier monster. I like that mon. Um,
Yeah, no, it's very cool.
I think this team is a little. I mean, Garchomp can be defensive. Mega Venusaur is a defensive monster.
Yeah,
I don't like Weezing Galar on this team. I think a different fairy would be better.
I could see that being possibly true. I don't know. I think
Um,
Weezing Galar has a lot of very unique tools that other fairies don't necessarily get.
yeah. Um, I don't think this team is that like status weak where the terrain is that big a deal. I don't think it's ground
No,
weak. I don't think it's ground weak at all. I think it's pretty like strong against grounds outside of Moth. Um, so I don't love we. I wish that was just a different defensive fairy. Um,
fair. I think Tinkaton might have gone hard. No steel type, so
yeah,
it'd be neat.
I 100% agree. Actually, that would have been nice. Um,
But yeah, I
Hazard
think this is a
game.
team to watch.
Hazard game is crazy on both sides.
Oh yeah. I mean, Samurott, Hisui, Garshot, like it goes crazy. Quackable gets rapid spin,
Yep,
lots of defog.
yep, for sure.
I think
Yeah,
hazard control, something this team excels at. I think there's a lot of mons that can just like snowball out of control very quickly and just kind of
yeah.
start
There's
taking names.
a lot of threats. I mean, that top three, if you don't have a plan for each one going with a sweeper set that week, you could easily get beaten.
Yep, I
All right,
agree. So I
for
think this
sure.
team looks pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree. All right, want to move on?
Sure.
Colorado Rock Slides.
So if I remember correctly, I think this is the person who missed like half the draft and then had to make up a bunch of picks. Um,
I wouldn't know.
which, given that, I think their draft looks pretty good. I think it's a little heavy on the physical side. Obviously, you can do like special Dragonite or like more niche sets like that. Obviously, Blacephalon is a monster. Um,
But
so I don't
but
know.
but Coda, he's got my favorite special attacking mod, Glamora.
130 special attack is nothing to sneeze at. I just really don't like its speed tier.
Scarf Glamora is the goat, Coda.
It's pretty good. I don't hate it. I think Blacephalon is probably one of the best Terra Captains available. So I'm excited to see what that can pull off.
You. I don't know. Maybe this is a hot take of mine. I don't think Terrible Cephalon is all that great. It doesn't have Terra Blast.
That is true. However, it really just like can kill stuff with its stabs already. I think like defensive Terra on it makes a lot of sense.
I don't know. The same things that I think it. Defensive. But defensively, its stats are 53 and 79. You Terra that
Yeah,
thing
but like if you're
defensively, it
getting an
maybe lives
immunity,
one hit.
no. If you're getting like an immunity, it goes crazy.
Yeah, okay. I can see it.
Like imagine you bring in a ground type on it. Oops, now it's a flying type. Like
Well, we're Terra preview.
true. That's true. I don't know. I'm a pretty big fan of it. I also think that like Terrifier Mind Blown probably just kills everything.
Yeah, maybe.
They also have the goat, Alolan Persian.
They do have the goat Alolan Persian.
I think initially they were talking about going Brute Bonnet, and they like switched up their pick last second, and I think Alolan Persian is way better for them.
Wait, but Koda, I thought Alolan Persian was a 3-point Pokemon.
Okay, I've changed my tune slightly. I think it's pretty good. I still think 7's a little steep for it, but like it doesn't really matter. It's gonna be good either way.
You are wrong, but we're not going to go down that tangent because I'll yell about it for 30 minutes again.
Very fair. I will say this team is very fast. There's a lot of fast mons on it. You have Megalopony, Kartana, you got Persian-Alola, Blacephalon.
Mm.
So we're seeing 4 mons over 100 speed, well over 100 speed.
I think
that's pretty great.
I think this guy was like, I want to draft Kartana and Blacephalon. I want nothing to wall me.
Yeah.
Which is, I actually think that's a pretty decent like core to grab there. It's hard to beat both
Yeah,
of
and
them
then the
with.
Slowbro as the defensive water type. Like I think
Yeah,
it works.
it's hard to beat both. Well, I mean that's not really a fire, water, grass core in terms of what it normally does, but in terms of, I just think the two mons go well together, breaking things the other ones can't.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Defensively, Slowbro, Bronzong, Persian. Darkspun can heal those things, I guess. Tangela is a regen mon.
Yeah.
I don't hate Stunfisk as an option to set hazards.
It's a ground type.
It's a ground
Yeah.
type. Yeah. Does he have?
I think this team looks pretty good.
Does he have every type? He doesn't have an ice type.
No ice, and I think no bug.
So the two types that don't matter.
I was gonna say those. If you're gonna miss a type, like bug is probably fine.
Yeah. Ice is fine.
There's also very little overlap. I think it's just psychic and grass.
And steel, but the grass overlap is literally completely irrelevant, and so is the steel, in my opinion. I think it's just psychic type.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it seems a little dark weak, just because
A little, but then you have Megalopony.
Bronzong's a Terramon anyway, so it's like not that bad.
Right.
And he has.
I like it. I think this team looks solid.
And he has a Persian Alolan, so he's not dark weak. I'll take that back.
That's true. That's just nothing from dark moves.
Yeah, I could dig this team. I think the offense is a little frail outside of D-Knight.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but that's something that's something you can play around.
I kind of like that personally. I'm a big fan of frail breakers.
What
they lack in defense, they make up for with their 181 attack.
Personally, I think this is the strongest team we've looked at.
I like it a lot. I'm excited to see how it does. It looks solid in a lot of different ways.
I just don't see any glaring weaknesses.
So. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Cool.
Moving on.
Yeah. So next we have Ganon's team, the Cranborn Crobats. You want to tell me your initial thoughts on this one?
Sure. Let's see. I like to look at speed tiers first. Jolteon, okay. Inteleon. What's at 110? I think that's Megalodios?
Yeah, Megalodios.
Okay, so that's great. Top end of the speed tier is great. No issues there. Urshifu, Latios Mega, Arcanine Hisui, Terra Jolteon, Inteleon. Wow. Maybe a little. I mean, Megalodios, maybe a little initially weak on the special side, but I mean, Megalodios has 160 special attack.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. I feel like Jolteon and Inteleon, like they're not the best special attackers, but like they get going.
Well, no, I'm saying initially. If you let either one set up,
sure, like no setup. Yeah.
Yeah, if you let any mon on this team set up Yeah.
The slowest one on the team is Corviknight, which is crazy to me.
Is that true? That's funny.
Yes, like everything is fast. Almost everything is like 90 or
I
above.
will never understand why Miltank has 100 speed.
I won't either, but I'm telling you, Miltank is actually a draft goat.
No, I
There
agree.
were,
I think Miltank is the bulky normal to end all bulky normals. I just don't know why it has 100 speed.
so you can get off fast T-waves, of course. It's great. I think
um,
this team has so much potential to just status people out of the game. You got Pheasant Dippity, you got Miltank, you got Toadscroll.
yeah, I'm glad this team is not facing me because I'd get parried every turn.
Right. You also have Milotic for Scaldburns. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Um, I mean, but in terms of immediate power, Arcanine, Hisui, Urshifu, two of the craziest immediate power mons in the game.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
huge physical breakers.
and of course, it's a Terra Arcanine Hisui, so you can't just bring that Gastrodon because you'll Terra Grass and kill it. I definitely never did
Yep.
that. I did do that. I don't know. In that same season, I missed 3 head smashes in one game. So there's
That's
a
really unfortunate.
there's a give and take there, but
Yeah.
let's see, any glaring issues here? Good. I mean, Corviknight is all you need in terms of removal.
Yeah, you got the grounded poison. You've got rapid spin on Toads if you need it.
Yeah,
I think hazard setting and hazard removal look solid.
I think the setting's a little weak.
A little bit,
I don't think
but
Toadscroll wants to come all that often.
yeah, but Miltank gets rocks.
Miltank does get rocks, and then Arcanine gets rocks, and I think that's it.
Corviknight has spikes. I think Pheasantipity might have toxic spikes.
Corviknight most definitely does not have spikes.
Oh, I'm thinking of Skarmory. Oh my god, you're right.
Corviknight
Imagine though, would
definitely
be
does
great.
not.
It'd be real good if it did. I mean, it is real good.
It would be a mon that would exist. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yikes.
can't disagree with that.
There's a reason Skarmory does not have U-turn and Corviknight does not have hazards. Let's just say that.
Yeah, fair.
Don't want to give them both. Uh, I mean, two of the scariest Terramons offensively and on the board, like at 12 and 8 respect, to have together, I mean.
Yeah, no, I really like these Terra Captains.
Trying to find glaring issues. I think hazard stacking is a little weak. I don't love the ground type because I don't love Toadscroll. But it is a ground type technically.
Yeah. You have Urshifu for priority. That's good.
And Arcanine.
I'm seeing a lot of pivots, something I value pretty highly.
Urshifu, Corviknight, Milotic, Fez, Jolteon. Yeah. And Teleon gets U-turn, right?
Sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this team looks really solid. I'm trying to see. Yeah, no, I don't really have very many
I can't
criticisms of it. I think it's
find
good.
much more to say. I can't find a glaring issue.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely one of the teams to watch.
For sure. Moving on. Dayton
So,
Dragonites.
yeah, this team I think is kind of fascinating. It looks really interesting to me. There's kind of like a fighting dark psychic core almost with Roaring Moon, Okidogi, and Armor Rouge. think Terra Armor Rouge is pretty cool. And then I think all of the low tiers are pretty impactful. I mean, they survive. Do because I think it's so impactful, and so being able to counter Terra is pretty neat.
Double Terra Psychics is kind of funny. Um,
Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
I don't think that's an issue or anything. I just think it's just interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
Um,
all of the like major types are presented. I think they're missing just Bug and Rock at a glance. The speed tiers are very fast and then very slow. There's some pretty big gaps. The most glaring gap to me is between the 105 and 80. Not that Cryogonal's coming especially often, so I guess the more impactful one is between Enamorous and Okidogi. So definitely a lot of potential to get speed crept on, but we'll see if that actually matters.
yeah, I don't know. I think as long as you have that high end, I think gaps are a little bit kind of because if someone else is like, "Hey, I can go adamant," then you can also go adamant. You can counter it.
Sure.
Of course, there's a
Yeah,
risk.
and I mean Mega Man is just so fast.
There's a risk to that game, of course, but
Yeah,
yeah, Mega Man is crazy fast.
Brewster,
Pivots.
Roaring Moon, and Scarf and Am also probably come pretty often, and those
Um,
are insanely fast.
I wish you had a slow pivot.
I do think this team would love a slow pivot. I don't really know which one in particular I would go for, but
Just
any of them would be pretty nice.
give me a scissor. Give me a Primarina. Like Amanda Buzz. I'm just naming slow pivots that I think are good right now. I'm not saying they'd be Scissor. I think would be good on this team though. Um,
Sure.
Hazard game is good. Um,
Yeah,
I think your threats have trouble getting in.
I would agree. I think it's going to be pretty hard to find an opportunity to set up with like Roaring Moon or maybe Calm Mind and Am, but
Or not even like I'm not even just talking about setting up. I mean even just getting in to hit the like without sacking them on.
sure. Yeah.
Even getting in with a
I
Specs
think this team looks hard to pilot, quite frankly. Like I think it has potential, but I don't think I would play it very well.
I mean, it doesn't look like a team I'd draft, so I don't really judge it based. I don't like judging based on that, but
Fair.
um, I just think a lot of the offense would be easy to take advantage of and not give an opportunity to get in
Yeah, I could see that.
because the defense are momentum sinks. Sinistra is a momentum sink. Gastrodon is a momentum
Right.
sink. The rest of his mons have offensive potential, so they're not really momentum sinks, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say the team is like terribly passive, but there's a couple ones that
No,
are.
no, I'm just saying it's not passive at all, in my opinion. I just don't think the mons that want to break things can come in easily,
Yeah, okay.
which is something you can play around, but it would be the issue I have with this team.
Okay. I think that's a fair criticism.
Is there something you want to say? Coda?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I was asking, is there anything you wanted to say on the team before we move on?
No, not really. I'm just kind of excited to see how Terapagos actually performs. I've never seen it in a draft league before.
Yeah. I have I'm leaving my I have no take on Terapagos yet, so I didn't bring it up in the conversation.
Very fair.
All right, moving on. Los Angeles Slow Kings. Zama's into crowns.
Yeah, so this is Conrad's team.
Yep.
I'm kind of terrified of the setup potential of Zamazenta Crowd and Spectrier. I think that's pretty cool.
Certainly a Sun team.
There's a lot of Sun synergy. Probably more than I would draft. Quite frankly. We're looking at, what, 4 photosynthesis Mons?
I mean, Screamtail doesn't need Sun. Sandy Shocks
No, Screamtail doesn't.
Sandy
Shocks
doesn't
doesn't.
really need it. Walking Wake kind of does. But that's it.
I think it does, personally.
I do too, but other people have given me arguments, and I've seen it do things outside of Sun, but I think it kind of needs it. But I don't think Shocks or Screamtail do. And Brute Bonnet is there as your Sun mod. Like, obviously, you're only bringing that if you bring Torkoal, so that's fine.
Yeah. I do think this team doesn't necessarily rely on Sun, which is good. There's modes where you're pretty chill without it.
You do not have to bring Torkoal every week. He did not bring Torkoal week 1.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's great. Another thing, I'm looking at these speed tiers. They're kind of silly. There are, what, 6, 7,
Yikes,
a lot of Mons over 100.
Is crazy.
And then Torkoal, Brute Bonnet, and Ursaring coming in.
That gap is insane.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying gaps don't matter. I was saying gaps don't really matter. This gap matters.
I think it matters a little bit, but you do have some really, really fast Mons up at the top to kind of make up for it.
No, but I'm saying things in the breakers in the 80s and the 70s are not running any speed unless they're running Scarf. And they don't have to.
True. Yeah, no, they get to go Adamant for free, which is pretty nice.
They get to go bulky.
So I would say that's yeah, whatever works in the matchup, you know. I would say that's probably my biggest criticism of the team. The hazard removal looks good. Hazard setting looks decent. I really like Sandy Shocks as like a screens mode for this team. It's also a good pivot.
Screens into Zinta.
Tornadus can bring manual Sun.
Tornadus with manual Sun, you're saying? Sunny Day?
Yeah, it could work.
Yeah.
Does Scream Sunny Day? I want to say it does, but I might be wrong.
Probably. I'm pretty sure most of the Protomons do.
I don't think you always want to bring that, but like it's kind of fun.
I don't see you ever wanting to bring Sunny and Screamtail over just bringing Torkoal, to be honest, but...
Yeah, okay, fair.
I can see the Torn setup making sense as throwing someone off thinking you didn't bring Sun and then late game throwing it up. I can see that.
Yeah. I think Screamtail needs those move slots for like Wish and Protect and stuff a lot worse than Tornadus needs like its 4th slot.
I agree.
But yeah. I also think Ursaring with Eviolite is like actually kind of a real thing. Obviously it depends because you might want to be Guts or Quick Feet. In which case you don't really get to use the Eviolite, but
I actually love Tentacruel in this team, because I don't think Tentacruel cares about Sun being up, but it's still a good bulky water.
Yeah, no, I think that the water types, both of them, kind of do fine in Sun, which is cool.
Well, Walking Wake wants Sun, yeah.
Well, Walking Wake loves Sun, that's true. But yeah, so I think it's a pretty cool Sun team. I think it's interesting because all of its biggest threats don't really care about Sun. Like Zama's Crown technically like dislikes Sun a little bit because fire moves are going to hit it harder.
And Weather Ball is now a thing people can run, yeah.
Right. But obviously, you control when the sun comes up, so you don't
Yeah.
necessarily set up in the sun anyways.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think if piloted well, I think this team has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Let's move on to. I think this is a new. Well, a lot of these are newcomers, but this is one of the other newcomers. And give me 1 second.
This is one of your Osu people, right? Okay, go now.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know if this person is or not. Quite frankly,
Okay.
I don't know where they're from, but the team's pretty cool. I think there's a lot of good things going for it. My favorite part,
Slow King Thundy T is the Titan. Let's go.
yeah, no, that's pretty real. I think my favorite part is Roserade with hidden power. I think that goes kind of crazy. Technician hidden power is just like such a neat thing that not very many mons can do.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dragapult always good. And then, I mean, looking at the speed tiers, they're pretty decent. There is a jump from like 90 to 60, but I don't think it matters that much because Grimmsnarl gets prankster anyways.
73.
Oh, there is a 73, it's a Titan. True. I guess it's probably going to be faster than that anyways, usually too. So, pretty good.
Yeah, but that's still something you prep for is the Titan out of snow, so the 73 is still
Right.
relevant. This team looks like I drafted it, so I love this team.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool. You have a lot of pivots, which is always good. Great bulky normal with Licky Licky. I think that's very solid. You got slow pivots, you got fast pivots, you got priority. I think Tauros, Paldea Blaze is a really good defensive mon, and I feel like people sleep on it.
I agree. I think Tauros Paldea Blaze is a really good, just like can do a lot of things Pokemon. Like
Yes, I agree.
very
You got
versatile
Willow
in
Wisp. You can,
matchups.
yeah, no, it's very real. Probably one of the better 9 pointers off the top of
Yeah,
my head.
probably.
I think the Terra captains are solid. I really like Terra Lycanroc. You can go Terra Rock for more priority power. You can go Terra Ground or Terra Fighting to break those steals. Pretty good.
I like Terra Flying, Lycanroc.
Terra Flying's cool. Definitely another option.
I'm just saying that because I have a Terra regular Lycanroc in another draft league, and multiple times Terra Flying to beat the fighting on the opposite side and to not be weak to ground is pretty good.
Yeah, it does shore up like two of its major weaknesses, so no complaints there. I will say this team doesn't really have much in the way of like offensive flying types. Like Thundurus doesn't get any real flying moves, so that is one thing I would say. Does Lycanroc get Terra Blast?
Lycanroc does get Terra Blast, yeah.
Yeah, then that's pretty good. I like it. I like the Terra Captains a lot. You got some good fast ones. You got some good slow mons. Good hazard setting. Decent removal. You have the screens mode if you want to take Grimmsnarl. I don't think this team necessarily needs screens, but
Well, no, I think screens into Nasty Plot, Thundy, and or Dragon Dance Dragapult are both real things.
yeah. Oh, definitely.
I also think just the typings that Grimmsnarl gives you on this team, even just ignoring the ability. I mean, Grimmsnarl has decent stats, and I mean,
Oh yeah.
ignoring the screen setting, not ignoring the ability. The ability is what makes it good. Parting shot, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But ignoring the screen setting mode, I think that Mon can come to games and other things. I like choice banded Grimmsnarl. I've brought it multiple times. I think it does things. Switcheroo, Darkest Lariat, parting shot, coverage move is what I'd run usually. But
Sure. It also has bulk up sets. Pretty
yeah,
good if you can get it on a physical mon.
yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I like it. I think this team's really solid in a lot of different ways. I think this might be this person's first draft, in which case, definitely kudos to them.
Huh. Yeah, nice job. All right, moving on.
Yeah, we got the Saskatoon Sox. This is Darcy, who I forget what place they came in last season, but it was pretty high in Hoenn. So that's pretty cool. Good to see a familiar face back. I think this team is insane. I'm just gonna say it. I think there's a lot of things going for it. I think Revavroom and Dunsparce are two of the
Interesting.
best Terra captains. I
Yeah,
think that Incineroar and Clodsire is such a good defensive pairing. They go kind of crazy.
Incineroar,
Obviously, they're both used to ground, but there's so many ground immunities and
Incineroar,
resists.
Clodsire, Hydrapple, Rotom Wash might be the most annoying, like mid-tier defensive core I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I don't know how you break that. You got Goldengo to keep up hazards and also just be a good special attacker. Iron Valiant, probably one of the most flexible mons. Great
Okay.
19-pointer. I don't know. I really like how these points are spent. I think there's a lot going for it. I can also see some games with this team just like going extremely long and then just everything's chipped down. Sweep with Iron Valiant. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of good things. And the hazard setting's good. Clodsire is kind of carrying there.
You don't think this team's a little offensively reliant on Iron Valiant?
I think it is until you consider the Terra captains.
Okay.
Revavroom with Shift Gear sets up for free with Terra. It goes kind of crazy. The Dunsparce has Coil and Calm Mind. So if you're using Terra defensively to set up, I think you're doing all right. Goldengo obviously has Nasty Plot. Rotom Wash and Hydrapple hit decently hard. It's definitely not the most immediately threatening team. But with setup, I think it definitely gets the job done.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think the team's bad at all. I think it's pretty good. I'm not as high on it as you are. I think Revavroom is good. I don't think Revavroom is good in every matchup. Obviously with Terra, it makes it better in every matchup, but I don't think it's. I don't. I still don't. I still think there will be things that you just can't break. Um, and in which case, I think without Terra Revavroom, I think you're going to have problems. I mean, Iron Valiant can break most things, but I just think it might
Mm-hmm.
be too. I think it might be too reliant on Valiant. But that's to be
Interesting.
wait to be seen. I think every mon is bringable. That's pretty good. Every mon
Yeah,
can be
definitely.
brought to a game. I mean, Sneasel already was, and I was going to say I think Sneasel is bringable. Um,
Right. I think this team's also exceptionally good at just spreading status.
yeah, yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
Iron Valiant gets Hypnosis, Goldengo gets T-Wave, Rotom Wash gets T-Wave and Will-O-Wisp and Toxic. Clodsire, obviously, with Toxic, Incineroar with Will-O-Wisp. The Dunsparce with Glare. Like, if you don't have,
Yeah.
ways to work around that, you're kind of screwed.
Um, your pivots are Rotom, Wash, and Incineroar.
Right.
Kind of wish that you had more than that. maybe an offensive pivot, but that's not a huge issue.
Yeah, I could definitely see a case for that. I don't know. I think this team goes crazy. I'm a big fan of it. Anything else you want to? I guess we should actually look at speed tiers. Let's see.
Speed tiers are good.
Obviously, yeah, you got some real fast mons. I think overall this team's a little slower than what we kind of expect, but Valiant just makes up for it.
Valiant plus you have Aerodactyl on the high end, which
Sure.
I think is pretty good.
I'm a big fan of Aerodactyl. It's more flexible than people give it credit for.
I agree.
So yeah.
All right, moving on.
Sick. Yeah. So next up is the Scintillating Cinderaces, coached by none other than Paprika. I think this team looks kind of crazy. There's a lot of huge threats, and then some really good.
I got thrown off by looking at Charizard, Mega, and Ceruledge, but yeah.
Fair. I think Charizard Mega is actually getting swapped out in the near future.
Okay.
Not
even because of the typing overlap. I just think the two mons break the same things and
they do function very similarly.
Do the same
obviously
thing.
on slightly different axes. Charizard Mega, I think, is a little more flexible. You could always bring a special attacking set.
I agree.
But I don't know. I also think this team was a theme draft, and the theme was shinies.
What?
Yeah. So I want to say outside of Mega Charizard, all of these mons are accessible in Scarlet and Violet and owned in Shiny by the coach, which is pretty cool. I think that's a neat theme.
Is that why he's changing Mega Charizard X?
I don't know.
Interesting.
But I don't know. There's a lot of good things going for it. I love the slow pivots to get Bundle in. Bundle also very good in Snow. It becomes very respectable on the defensive bulk front or the physical bulk front. You got Primarina, Gliscor, like lots of options kind of in the middle there. I think Chinchino is kind of a sleeper pick. I have gotten absolutely demolished by like Terra Rock or Terra Grass Chinchino just to boost like Rock Blast or Bullet Seed. With like Tidy Up and Skill Link, it goes kind of crazy.
Yeah, I've seen Chinchino I've seen Chinchino do some crazy stuff with Tidy Up for sure.
Yeah. I think having both Shedtail Mons in a format where Shedtail isn't allowed is kind of funny. Not really a knock. I think they're pointed appropriately, but just an interesting little coincidence there.
I'm trying to figure out why you'd bring Orthworm over Gliscor. And I guess, like, if you don't want to be weak to, like, in a Mammo matchup or in something like that, I could see it.
Yeah. It also eats, like, obviously its special defense is pretty bad, but it's still going to take something like a Psychic a little better.
Sure.
If you are worried about that.
Well, yeah, I was thinking maybe you could have a different steel type.
I could see a different steel type working, for sure. They're both kind of on the same axis.
I find Orthworm a little passive.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If we're going to look at some of the more concrete things, I think the speed tiers here are pretty exceptional. Very fast, and then just has like a ton of things in the middle. I think that the type spread is pretty good. I don't really have many complaints as far as like, oh, there aren't enough physical attackers or special attackers or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of this draft.
I'm interested to see what he gets over Megazord X. I hope it's like a physical breaker.
I believe, let me just look. The transaction is dropping Megazard X and Rotom Fan to pick up Tapu Koko and Farigiraf, which is interesting. I think Koko Bundle goes kind of hard.
Yep.
You can never really have too many fairies, I would argue, especially with so many good poison resists anyways. Yeah, I don't know.
I
I like
like
the team.
I like Coco on the team. I still think you want a physical breaker.
That's fair.
I would drop Primarina and Orthworm probably and pick up a physical breaker and a different steel.
I can see that making sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is a cool team. I think it has a lot going for it. And it's also one of the more top-heavy drafts we've looked at. You see a lot of Mons in like the 17 to 15 range.
Yeah.
And then a lot down in like the 8 to 5. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's actually oftentimes pretty good because you just have so many big threats. It's hard to prep for them all.
Yeah, I mean, again, I see my favorite Pokemon in Draft League. Well, my second favorite Pokemon in Draft League because the other Slowking's better. But
That's a hot take.
can't hate that team. I don't think it's actually better. I just like drafting it more.
Okay, I can support that. But yeah, cool team.
All right, you ready to talk about Shift Tree for 20 minutes?
I'm so ready to talk about Shift Tree for 20 minutes.
Cool.
All right, so this is a self-described Tailwind team, which I think is interesting. It's not really an archetype you see a lot in singles, but there are some good Tailwind setters here. I mean, you have Kilowattrel, you have Shiftry, both of which also get abilities that synergize with Tailwind, so they're kind of setting it up for themselves, which is good. You aren't wasting turns trying to switch.
You mean Shift
Nidoking
Tree
obviously loves Tailwind.
you mean Shift Tree is setting it up to click Explosion?
Realistically, yes.
NKS is the biggest Shift Tree fan in the world. I can confidently say that.
I would agree. I think we could put it at like 12 points, and he'd probably still pick it.
I don't think he drafted at 12. I talked to him enough, but I think he'd pick it at 9, which is insane.
That's crazy to me.
He shouldn't be picking Shift Tree at 9.
But yeah, I don't know. The team's really interesting. I don't know if you saw his first match, but
I know what happened.
it was crazy. Cloyster set up and then died to endure Custat Berry Dragapult, which I think is iconic. Lots and lots of priority, which I think is great. You have Mega Medicham with Fake Out. You have Scizor with Bullet Punch. Breloom with Mach Punch. Cloyster probably gets Ice Shard. I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, Quister does not get Ice Shard from my recollection, but I might be wrong about that.
Oh, weird. Either way, tons of priority. I also really like Terra Breloom. I think that Terra Breloom with a substitute Focus Punch set can probably beat almost anything. And if you can't, you can just spore it.
Yeah. I will say Terra Breloom is. I mean, it's his second favorite Pokemon because I mean he'll say it's his favorite. He'll say Breloom's his favorite Pokemon, but he's lying. Shiftree's his favorite Pokemon.
Very fair.
It's his second favorite Pokemon, and he does use it pretty well. I don't know. The mons he brought to game one were crazy. I know what mons he brought.
Yeah,
Because I do mocking with him.
right.
No heat train is wild. Um,
No, Heatran was very shocking. I do think that if Heatran and Mega Medicham come to more games, that might be beneficial.
I do think they will. Speed tier wise, you got Kilowattrel, then you drop off to 108. Which is fine. Like the drop off's fine. I just think some things will just let Kilowattrel outspeed them. To be honest,
Right. Kilowattrel doesn't hit that hard. Um, and obviously Mega Medicham does, but it really needs a Trailblaze to get going.
or Tailwind.
Or Tailwind. Very fair. Tailwind doesn't last long enough to really get Mega Medicham in, but I guess we'll see.
I don't know. I don't hate the way the team is designed. I think it has pretty good pivots to get into things that are threatening. I think the sweepers are pretty good. I guess by pretty good pivots, I mean Scissor and Keldeo. Shift Tree does not count as a
Right.
pivot.
Kilowattrel with a big volt switch as well.
Kilowattrel. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Kilowattrel was one of my favorite pivots.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the team's really interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not the way
I
a
do
team.
think,
It's not the way a team would normally be designed. But NKS doesn't do that, so it's hard to say the team is bad because it's just an NKS draft.
right. I definitely think it's one of the more unique approaches we've seen. Probably the most unique approach we've seen.
Probably.
In this particular division.
He will proudly hold that title. I'm certain of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's cool. I'm excited to see how it does.
All right. And just for you, buddy, Shift Tree is the goated 5-point mon. There you go. We can move on.
Okay. Next up, we have the Sydney Piplups. And there's a lot going on here.
I don't like this team.
I think that it has some very real benefits, but I also wouldn't draft it. Hear me out. Chi-Yu, insane special breaker. Nothing special, like nothing is living. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't like Chi. I don't like Chi-Yu in draft. I think more things
interesting.
I think more things are living than you think.
I don't know. Then you have double regenerator, which is always good.
Yeah, that's true.
You have great Tusk to set and remove hazards or set up. I also think there's a weirdly good Trick Room mode with Porygon 2 and Melmetal. I don't think you always bring it, but I think when you do bring it, it might be what you need. Melmetal, obviously a huge bulky physical breaker.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know how you would pull it off, but if you do get Sun up, Chi-Yu and Great Tusk are going crazy. Like, I think this has a very good matchup into the Sun team.
Sunny Day Whimsicott, I guess.
You could do that. You could. I don't know if I would, but you could.
It's an option.
It is.
Sunny Day Monito Whimsicott, I guess.
Yeah. I think the Terra captains are where this team lets me down a little bit. I don't think Mesprit or Whimsicott are doing very much with Terra.
I think Mesprit is fine with Terra. I think it does some things. I think Whimsicott is a horrible Terrapon. I think it's a waste of a Terra pick. I would rather just have Terra Gudra.
I think Terra Gudra and like Terra Alomomola or Porygon 2 would have been my picks.
I think I would have gone with Gudra and Mesprit. I honestly think Alomomola and Porygon 2 are fine keeping their typings.
They do have good typings.
I also wouldn't draft this team because I don't know. Whimsicott's not a real speed tier, so 121 to 100 is the drop off.
Right. And then there's another gap It's not that big of a gap. It's 100 to 87. That's probably fine.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I think this is fine. My
I don't think I
biggest
don't think I don't think
concern.
I don't think it's a glaring issue. I just don't think Chi Yu is as good as people say it is. So it's hard for me to like this team because Chi Yu is almost its only offense mod.
EU has to do some heavy lifting for this team to work.
This
Like
team has
Chiyu, Great Tusk, and Melmetal.
yes, yeah, Chi Yu plus Great Tusk plus Melmetal is your offense. Melmetal is slow and will get abused outside of Trick Room. It will.
I think those are the only Mons with offensive stats over like 110,
Right. That's a
which is
problem.
not necessarily what you want to see.
I mean, Nasty Plot
I think this
Torn. Nasty
team.
Plot Torn isn't an unbringable set. Um,
No, I think it's fine. It's just it takes a while to get off the ground.
right. Um, I think your lower. I think I think your lower tiers are too passive across the board.
I think overall this team just needs a little more immediate offense.
Agreed.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a very defensive team, and I feel like in Gen 9 especially, it's a little harder to pull off.
In terms of hazard setting, you Great Tusk, Mesprit. That's it. So Mesprit probably because you don't want to waste a slot on Stealth Rocks on Great Tusk, in my opinion, on this team.
No, you needed slots for rapid spin, bulk up, etc.
Yeah.
Attacking moves. I think the hazard game here is a little weak. Obviously, great removal, but I do think you need great removal with GU,
Great,
so
great,
that's
great,
good.
great removal, but I'm.
I don't get it. Oh,
The
great tusk,
name
short.
is
Short,
Great
short.
Tusk. Wow.
Yeah. I was looking at Torn
Damn.
mostly, but they both do their
I
job.
think Great Tusk is better at removing than Torn, just because Rapid Spin's a better
That's
move, I
true.
guess.
Yeah, I mean rapid spin's insane, especially on a mod that's already kind of fast.
Um, I'm trying to think what where my head is at right now. Um, yeah, I think the team is not offensively where it wants to be, but hey, prove me wrong. That's what we're doing. Your opinion of your team is more important than my opinion. I forgot to give that disclaimer.
Oh, so true. We're just guys saying shit into a microphone. Like I don't know. I'm not an
Yeah, for
expert.
sure.
I just play Pokemon.
4 kills with Espeon week 1. That is crazy.
Yeah. No, there are always some big upsets. So
All right.
I don't think this team is bad. I just don't necessarily like the style that it's in.
Yep. I agree.
So yeah, you want to move on over to the big guys?
Sure. Let's go to the big guys.
I think this team is exceptional. I'll just say it. I don't think Walrein probably ever comes,
Walrein
but
comes into the Iron Bundle match. Come on.
yeah, my bad.
It
Um,
it is
the
it it
BST,
it is it literally is a dual resist to the staff. It literally dual resists freeze dry and hydro pump.
yeah, it's fair. Um, all right, real talk. These guys are not that big.
You don't think they're that big?
I mean, Lando T is huge. Skeledirge, pretty big. Walrein, pretty big. Rillaboom, not like height wise big, but very muscular. But like, they're not that big.
Skarmory and Diancie are heavy.
They are. I guess on average, this team is probably big.
This team is bigger than you think.
Okay, I'll give him that. No, so looking at the actual team,
Not how
I think
big
the
they are?
speed tiers, the speed tiers are great. I like them quite a bit, especially if you can pull off a battle bond with Gren. You're going in. Sneasler with Unburden, incredibly fast. Rillaboom sets up Sneasler real nice. Um, there's kind of a Skeledirge, Rillaboom, Greninja, Firewater Grass Core. Um, Rillaboom has good priority. Landorus T does everything and does it quite well. I will say this team's a little bit physically loaded. But Gren obviously can go special pretty well. Skeledirge sets up basically for free. And apparently Espeon is going to
Yeah.
be putting in some work. So
I think Terra Espeon is pretty good at 8 points.
130 special attack, much higher than I thought it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real special attack stat. Sure.
I kind of thought it was more of like a Jolteon special attack stat, but no, it's kind of
No, no,
doing things.
it's just much higher. It's got the Jolteon special it's got the Jolteon speed at its special attack stat. That's what it's got.
Okay, yeah,
Because that's how they
it's a
shift
good number to
around.
have.
That's how they shift around stats with the evolutions. So I think everything has a
Yeah,
130 at something.
gotcha. But yeah, I think this team has some really good offensive capabilities. Defensive wise, I don't think you bring ground types here. Like they have Landorus and Skarmory and Electros, which are all immune, and then they also have grassy terrain, so Earthquake isn't doing shit.
Yeah. Um, I think offensive
I like this team a
fires.
lot.
I think offensive fires after Dirge Terras might be an issue, but like that's
Yeah, unless it's Terra Water.
yeah. I mean, sure, unless it's a Terra that resists fire,
Right, which I think it can be.
it
Nothing wrong
definitely
with
can
it.
be. Definitely can be. I don't know. I'm just trying to find big issues. I think yeah, maybe a another special attacking threat, but I like Espeon. Um,
Yeah, you also can't sneeze at Diancie. It obviously doesn't have the highest attack, but it's bulky enough to get a few off. So,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, it has 2 kills.
It does
I don't know
have
if they
two
were with
kills.
physical or special moves, but
You you
could have
you,
been either.
you brought a Sneasler, a Greninja, a Lando T to a game. None of them got a single kill, and you won the game. Someone needs to give you a round of
Yeah,
applause. I
it's kind of impressive. I don't even know if they came out. I haven't watched this one, I don't think.
haven't watched this one
But
either. I just think that
yeah,
needs to
I
be
think this
brought
team's
up.
really
There were
cool.
there you won the game. You brought a Sneasler, a Greninja, and a Lando T. You won the game, and not a single one of them got a kill. Someone needs to give you a round of
True.
applause for that.
Yeah, and your only death was Diancie. I mean, which is a quad mon, so pretty
Yeah,
fair.
and it got
I
two
don't know.
kills
I
on
like
the
this
way
team a
out.
lot. I think this is one of the teams to watch for sure. I could see this going pretty far.
All right. After we went over every team, what is your favorite team, Coda? I know mine.
Okay, let me pull up the draft log so I can kind of see them side by side.
I'm finding
Um,
mine. I found mine.
okay. Let me see.
I'll let you go
I
first.
think I think my favorite team would have to be the Beaver Creek Braviaries.
The Beaver Creek Baviaries. The first team we looked at.
Yeah, I think they're huge. I think the team goes crazy.
Wait, no, that's not the first team we looked at. It just got dragged past Baltimore. The second team we looked at.
Yeah, second team.
Um,
I don't know. I like it.
yeah, I think it's very, very strong for sure. You want to guess my favorite team?
I'm trying to figure out how much you like Slow King because the Slow King team's pretty cool. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that your favorite team is probably the one that you said you would draft, uh, which is the
Is the Slow King
Mariti
team?
Sunukis.
Is this the
Yeah,
Slow King team? Yeah, this is my favorite team.
I think it's great, especially if that is actually their first draft. I don't know for sure if it is or not. I think it is. But if it is, that's like mad impressive.
Unfortunate they 3-0'd my buddy, but it is my favorite draft team, so they should be 3-0ing my buddy.
Yeah. No, I think it's really good. I think it's promising. I was glad to see Roserade take some names. That's always a mon that I hear people like talk about in draft, but never actually bring it. And well,
Yeah.
it got brought and it did really well.
I did not bring it into our mocks, but guess I should have.
Yeah, I guess so. I think that team's hard too because there's so many threats. Like I feel like every mon could come.
Which is my favorite thing about a team, is every mon can come. God, I love Licky Licky as a bulky normal. You can't be taunted, so who cares that you're passive?
Yeah, no taunt. You can wish pass forever. You can, do bulky normal things.
Right, we talked about my team, but we didn't do that much talking about what your favorite team was. So what's the full reason of why this is your favorite team?
I am such a sucker for just like all of the mons on it. Like Garchomp, one of my favorite mons. Mega Venusaur, one of my favorite mons. Samurai Hisui, one of my favorite mons. And then like actually pulling off Braviary and putting in work with it, very cool. I also love Heliolisk. That's one of my pet mons. I don't know. There's a lot that I like here. Just like vibes wise. But honestly, I think the teams are looking really good in Hoenn overall. It was very hard to actually find like valid criticisms for most of them. So yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I agree. I think y'all did a great job drafting. I think y'all destroyed the Kanto draft from last season. That was a mess. Those drafts were weird.
Yeah, mine was bad.
But I think y'all did great. I think overall there weren't many issues with a lot of your drafts. You all had your own style. I think I hope you have fun in the season. Yeah. Again, final note. Whatever I said in this video, who cares? I'm just me. Your opinion matters more. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And plus, like we'll see how the season actually plays out.
Oh, for
Could be one of
sure.
the teams that we talk shit on that just like wins the whole thing. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, I will hopefully be back with some of the other admins for other divisions. But until then, see y'all later.
See ya.